Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 145, and this will be whiskey comparison number 7. Tonight we're going to compare Evan Williams Black with Evan Williams Single Barrel. The single barrel is from barrel number 1187, placed in the wood. No, it's bottled 11/6 of 21, placed in the wood 6/18 of 13. So it was in the barrel 7.5 years, just about. Now, previously I have done a Evan Williams comparison between the Evan Williams Black and 1783, and Black won that contest. Just pretty evenly matched, but I think flavor-wise, I picked that one. So, and I'm interrupting my Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament to do this because of 3 reasons. One, I like to include a little bit of diversity once in a while. I don't want to get too bogged down in the rye tournament. 2, as you can see, this single barrel bottle is almost gone. And I will likely never see another one because they are now restricting the sale of this single barrel bottles to Kentucky and I think Japan. I know that this used to be seen frequently here in Fort Worth. I mean, several years ago, I used to see it in all the stores. Then it disappeared for a couple of years. And I started looking for it and went several places and couldn't find it. And then one day, about a year and a half, 2 years ago or so, Goody Goody called me or sent me an email. So they contacted me because I'm in their bottle club, and when they get special releases, they'll call those people and say, hey, we got this and this and this available. What do you want? And so I think that's where I got the Evan Williams single barrel. And it will never happen again, apparently, because they're not selling it outside of Kentucky. And I think that's proof of the boom in bourbon. You know, people have been talking about a bourbon boom for the last 10 years, where the popularity of bourbon has skyrocketed, so the demand is increased. So what you're seeing is a lot of age statements are decreasing, and things are now allocated more often. So there you go. So that's why I'm doing this comparison tonight. Is that bottle's getting pretty low, so I want to do this before it's gone. The price: Evan Williams Black, this 86 proof 750 milliliter bottle, you can get for $12.99 at Total Wine, $14.71 at Specs, and Goody Goody's got it for $12.99. So this is a great bargain right there. The single barrel 86 proof, I did not write down what I paid for it or exactly when I did, but I noticed, a year and a half to 2 years ago, it was around 30 to 35. Somewhere in that range, I think, is what I paid. And again, nobody sells it anymore, so I couldn't check it here locally. Evan Williams is bottled by Old Evan Williams Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, but it's distilled by Heaven Hill. By some accounts, Evan Williams is the second largest selling bourbon behind Jim Beam. The brand was, that's going to depend on what year you look at, but, the stuff I researched today has got it number 2. I've seen it behind some others, number 4. I think Bullet Bourbon sometimes gets up there ahead of it. So it varies year to year, but it's one of the best selling brands. The brand was introduced in 1957, despite the heritage claims that say it goes back to 1783, and first distillery in Kentucky on the Ohio River. Evan Williams himself was an immigrant from Wales, and he is acclaimed to have started that first distillery in Kentucky. But there's other people who say that claim's not actually proven. It's not true. Elijah Craig people say, no, it's Elijah Craig who started the whole bourbon thing. So, who knows? A lot of it's just lost in history. So let's turn now to these whiskeys. Look at the bottles. Evan Williams Black is got kind of the square shaped classic bottle there. Label is really fairly attractive, but not fancy. I mean, it's bold and it's nice. It's elegant without being overly fancy. In fact, Evan Williams Black has got a nicer label than their Bottled in Bond, the white label. White label's very plain. But when we look at the single barrel, obviously they spent a little bit more money on this label and this bottle. It's very attractive bottle with a very nice label. So just from a marketing plan, the single barrel wins. Now, I do not know which glass contains which whiskey. Well, on the bottom, there's numbers, number 1 and number 2. And number 1 is the Evan Williams Black. Number 2 is the single barrel. Looking at these, they're pretty similar, but I'm kind of thinking this one's lighter, just a half a shade lighter than this one. I might be wrong there, but that's what I'm looking at. And so just on visual, I'm going to say this is the black bottle and this is the single barrel. So that's a visual. I'm going to continue guessing with the nose and the tasting. So here we go. Smells corn, sweet, a little bit of a very sweet whiskey smell. It smells like a bourbon. My nose is inadequate though. So with the bourbon, I mean, you can get a little bit of the wood flavor going on there with the nose. Now, this next glass. Actually, the second glass is more faint. It doesn't have quite the nose that the first glass had. They're essentially the same proof. The single barrel is 86.6 proof, whereas the black is just 86. So, a slight proof advantage to the single barrel. I'm going to switch these up. I'm going to say, this one's got more of a nose, maybe the single barrel. We'll see. All right, so now let's go for the taste and mouthfeel. Since this was the weaker smelling one, I'll start with it. Again, number 2 on the bottom will be the single barrel, and number 1 will be the black label. And that's a pretty nice drink there. You get the sweetness of the corn, caramel. You do get some of that barrel, some of that wood and char, just a little bit in the Kentucky way, not like the Texas barrel and char. A little bit of spiciness. Maybe hints of apple. Just a little bit of a kind of a little hint of an alcohol, ethanol flavor going on that one. But all in all, that is a very nice classic bourbon. One of the things I like about Evan Williams is it's not too sweet. You get the wood, you get the barrel. Uh, Things like Old Forester or Four Roses, Buffalo Trace, those are a little bit too sweet for me. And they're still good, but they're just a little bit past the line of sweetness on my taste. So this one was really pretty good. Let's try number 2. Let me get a drink of water first. I say number 2. This is the second glass. I don't know if this has a 1 or a 2 on the bottom. Going off of the nose, and I'm thinking this may be the single barrel off the nose, but we'll see. Wow, there's actually a big flavor difference. There I'm getting corn, kind of a dusty caramel corn flavor going on there, the wood. That's actually better. Yeah, that's kind of a popcorn, caramel corn going on there. Yeah, so there's a little bit more of the wood influence. Did not get that alcohol burn. Well, there's a good burn on both of these, but the first one had a little bit of the ethanol flavor, just a hint of it. This one does not. All right, going off the flavor. Now I'm starting to think this is the black bottle. Mouthfeel. Yeah, that's just like caramel corn, Cracker Jacks, a little bit of the peanut. Yeah, it's like Cracker Jacks. Wow. Definitely getting the peanut there. Okay, now I'm thinking this is going to have the number 2 on the bottom now. I definitely like the flavors going on with this one the best. Their mouthfeel is about the same. Their finish is about the same. So now I'm going strictly off of what flavor do I like the best. I can tell they're related, but this one has got the popcorn and peanuts. It's got a little bit more of the wood. I'm going to say this one for the win. Yeah. All right, is this a number 1 or a number 2? Oh, number 1. There you go. I guessed right. And once again, Evan Williams Black Label I like better than the more expensive single barrel or the 1783. I mean, that single barrel is more than twice the price of the Black Label. Wow. Well, number 2. Well, alrighty then. It looks like the Black Label now is 2-0 in this competition between the Evan Williams. So that leaves the Bottled and Bond, the white label. So next time I do an Evan Williams competition, that's what it'll be. All right. This is Stab the Dragon out here.